Welcome to Trapper Joe's Trap Line, another edition. Today we're out here at a private lake where people have invited me to come here to help remove beaver from this lake. Now, the problem is the beaver out here are cutting trees down all over the place, and they do skiing out here and they need the trees for a windbreak. So what I'm doing is right here in this beaver run going up and towards the den, I've set a 330 conibear here. In a minute, I'm going to show you a couple other places. I have these branches here to encourage them to go under and make it look more natural. Now, you come over to these other ones. Follow me, please. There's a couple other setups, and I'm going to show you how I set a trap up. Have another run here. You see there's a significant amount of beaver with a 330 trap set here. A couple of sticks over the top to make it look natural. These logs placed here to funnel the beaver through the trap. This trap is placed upside down with the trigger up. That's a trick some trappers use to kind of fool the beaver. Now here I'm getting ready to set up another trap in this run right next to it. I have here my 330 trap for the beaver. And I'm going to set the trap with these trap setters I made on my forge while blacksmithing. The way to set this trap is to place these tongs onto these rings, compress the spring. Then, after compressing the spring, reach down and place on what's known as a safety hook here. Release the spring so that you don't bust your fingers. You need this tool because these springs are very powerful. A beaver is a very large animal and is very strong. And this is kind of like a giant mouse trap, which is designed to break the beaver's neck or choke the beaver to death, usually while underwater. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, because this trap is upside down, is turn this trap over, lift it up, and a lot of times to do this, I get it started using my trap setters again to collapse this, bring it in, which compresses the springs even more. And I'm setting this on a light trigger instead of the heavy trigger. There's usually two settings on these. Make sure that's set good and solid. Next thing I will do is remove the safety latches. Now this thing is set and dangerous. Once again, instead of placing it upright like this, I'm going to place the trap upside down, so hopefully the beaver does not see the trigger. Now instead of placing it way up here where they may or may not go, I'm placing this right near the entrance. But before I put it in there, I've got to clear a little bit of this wood out of the way. We don't want to set this off and harm ourselves. Okay, now do very carefully adjust the springs to where this is just under the water. Move these three twigs out of the way. These be better. Stick this one into this hole. Nope, that's too small. The nice thing is the beaver provide all these sharpened sticks for to use as trap setters. Push that in there good and firm. Get another stick provided by the beaver, used to catch the beaver. Push it in here. That stabilizes the trap. Now, because I do not want the beaver going over the top of the trap, I'm going to take this large log and actually place it kind of crossways and very low to make the beaver go under the log and through the trap. Also, to entice the beaver, I'm going to take some of this fresh small twig, place this just in the water a little bit to get him to come up and nibble on it. Alright, now I'd like to show you a view of this lake here. We've got a large lake, got birds and stuff on it, and I'm going to be going around to the backside very soon. And that's another edition of Trapper Joe on the trap line. Trapper Joe on the trap line, day 2. Our other traps don't have any beavers yet. I expected to have some, but a lot of those, the den, holes, the entrances are above water with the water dropping. Today, we'll come out here to this den, which is still underwater, you can see. And the beaver, they like to go in and out of their holes under the water. That comes in especially handy with ice. If you look up along this, you can see there's been steady beaver activity, fresh cut branches. That tells me that the beaver are still active right here, cutting off of that tree, dragging small limbs down here to eat. They love to snack on those small limbs, eat the bark off the larger branches. Because beaver eat almost strictly wood and wood bark. And that's what they tend to live off of all year. One of the reasons, while I set this trap, I'll explain this to you. I'll let you watch this trap, collapse the springs. One of the reasons beaver cut down so many trees is because when it gets really cold and there's a lot of ice out, they like to store their trees under the water, act like a refrigerator for their vegetables. And beaver don't eat meat, they eat trees. And since they don't like to go out any more than you do in the cold, for them cold is a whole nother monster than it is for us, they store trees underwater and drag a lot of them near their den, but not necessarily into their den. So a lot of times they'll pile it up here for little snacks, but they'll make big piles like over there. When that's underwater, that's what they eat. Now, back to setting this trap here, using these trap setters. Trapping supply store can get you a pair of these pretty easily, but they're not that hard to make on the forge. If you're doing a little blacksmithing, nice little hobby of mine. Very simple design. All I do is make a couple notches here, curve them out a little bit, make an S shape, put a bolt through after I punch a hole, long handle. That gives you the leverage you need to set these traps, which I haven't met anybody who can set them with their bare hands. Okay, this trap is now set and ready to go. I'm going to do the upside down trap set like normal. I'm going to take this, slide it down into where it's going to go into this hole, just up under the water a little bit. There we go. I'm going to use these sticks, push this down a little bit more, make sure it's stable. I'm going to put this in this hole to stabilize the trap, hold it in place. There's one. Here's another one. I'll leave that set nice and deep. And then of course I'm going to take a piece of orange tape and tie it on here so I know where my trap is. And after this we're going to go around and set some more traps further around on the other side of this lake. And that's another edition, Trapper Joe on the trap line. Welcome once again to Trapper Joe on the trap line. We're out here today, day 3, to check our beaver traps. We're going to start by coming down here. I don't have my assistant with me today, so you have to bear with me operating my own camera. Let's go take a walk down here. Look at the sun coming up. That is a beautiful sight. Okay, coming on along down here, let's take a look. see if we have anything in some of these traps. Have this one in this run, which appears to be unset. Nothing's come through here. I don't see a lot of activity right here. We may have to move this trap. Walking along, check our other 2 runs here where they're coming into these dens. We have nothing here today at this spot. If they remain inactive after a few days, I'll end up moving them. Now this one, you can see the trap kind of sticking up out of the water a little bit. I may have to move that one in a couple of days if the water level keeps going down, because I like the trap to be under the water. Let's go on down here to our next little run. There's so many here, these beaver can go back and forth. Once again, it's another trap. It's there, it's starting to stick up out of the top of the water. We'll probably have to move that one in a while as well. See how the water level goes. And come on down this way. We have a trap here that I did recently just take out. It's still set, but the hooks are in place. And here, right here, coming into this run, just like the others, we do have a trap that is set with a beaver in it. We're going to end up having to go get the trap setters and reset this trap. But for now, let's, looks like we got this beaver coming out of the hole. Nice, nice little beaver. It's not a monster, but definitely would make a nice hide. Let's pull this stick out. Alright, reach in here. Now, this is a perfect catch. I'd like you to get a good look at how this is done. Right there on the neck. Breaking the neck, also catching the body. This beaver ain't going nowhere. Under the water, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect catch. That's one dead beaver. Okay, I'm gonna have to shut off this camera in order to take care of business of removing this, because I don't have a camera operator to show you how to remove the beaver and reset the trap. And that ought to do it for now on another edition, day 3, Trapper Joe on the trap line. Okay, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see this, but out there on that point there, there's a doe. She's walking around. She don't see me yet. I'm in plain sight. I'm out here trapping beaver. This doe's walking around. She's slowly heading back toward the wood. There she goes. You can barely see her now. Oh, there she's gone. It's day 5 on the trap line with Trapper Joe. And today we've got ourselves something good over here. We have a beaver. Now, over in this area, I'm going to show you. There's obviously a lot of beaver activity. You got 2 big old runs here. Comes up these big old piles of wood they've been building. The runs go way all the way up there. Now the beaver obviously are not going to be up there where it's dry in the water. And I was seeing some beaver activity, but my traps weren't really doing anything there at the mouth. I tried setting up over here by the logs. That wasn't really working real good. So what I did is I saw this slide over here. I'm going to show you. These beaver were coming in and out of that hole. I could tell the recent digging. In this area right here, I had some beaver footprints and sliding activity going in and out of the water. Well, I tried setting a trap up where this beaver is sitting here floating in the water. I'm getting ready to get out, and he was just going around it. So what I did is I set up a double trap setup. I utilized a leg hold trap along with this 330 conibear. So the beaver would step into the leg hold, and when he tried to duck back under the wood, he would have to go through the 330 conibear or just kind of stay out here in the open. Now obviously the beaver is going to want to hide when he's got his leg caught. So, let's see what we got here. We got ourselves Fairly nice beaver. Yeah. It's definitely about twice the size of the last one. And that, as you see, good killing catch right there on the back. Another dead beaver. Once again, that's Trapper Joe on the trap line.